There's just something about eating food off a truck that just makes it taste better. I don't know what it is. I can't explain the psychology behind it, but I swear it's true, and I don't think I'm the only one who believes that, because according to the U.S. Chamber Foundation, food trucks have seen a 300% revenue increase in the last 3 years. Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and there's just something about eating food off a truck that just makes it taste better. I don't know what it is. I can't explain the psychology behind it, but I swear it's true, and I don't think I'm the only one who believes that, because according to the U.S. Chamber Foundation, food trucks have seen a 300% revenue increase in the last 3 years. Why do we love food trucks so much? What is it like to work on one? Why not are we good? Why not ask the experts? I've got 3 of them here tonight. Let's welcome our guests to the show, everybody. Okay, to start off here, before we get into the discussion, I would love for each of you guys to just introduce yourselves. Give me a 45 to 90 second pitch on your concept, on your food truck, on what you're working with, and why people should come visit you.
Cool. So Javi here started Javi's Tacos 5 years ago. We own different concepts as breakfast, ice cream shop, upscale Mexican restaurant called El Milagro, Frosty Mug Sports Bar, and we have 3 food trucks for Javi's, and you're right. Food does taste different in a food truck for some reason. I think it's all because of the propane. I've always said, I feel food that gets cooked on propane just tastes so much better. But so that's a little bit about me. And this year we're celebrating 5 years of the original brand of Javi's Tacos.
There we go. So, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a great journey, but I would be the first one to say, just like this gentleman's, that it's not easy, and there's a screw that's not screwing right in my head, because we have 4 food trucks and we do an average of 23 to 28 events a week. And sometimes it's not easy. It's a lot of 18, 20 hours on the weekends, but it's fun. At the end of the day, it's just fun to be able to see people enjoy your food. And when we have long lines, I think we all get that adrenaline, like, oh my God, I love what I'm doing. And it's just great. And I personally will be the first one to say that I feel like my street tacos and my birria tacos are much better in the food truck than they are in the restaurants.
Wow, ooh, so, strong words.
I don't know why, but I still think it's the propane.
So I'm Brian Sullivan with Sully's GastroBurgers and Fries. I've done this for 1 year, and I do gourmet burgers and fries. We do everything in-house, from making the mayonnaise to grinding our own meat, and it has been a challenge.
Awesome. I'm Nick with Hyde Slydes. I started Hyde Slydes in 2021. We started with food trucks. We've now built it up. We've got 2 restaurants and the food truck still going. It's been quite the journey, and I also will say that my burgers do come out better on the food truck than they do in the restaurant.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about that, guys. I feel like, Javi, you're being a little tongue-in-cheek with the propane thing, but like, what is it about food trucks? Like, what is, whether it's the actual equipment on the truck or whether it's just the psychology in our minds, why do people love getting food from a food truck?
I think it's because you can see them doing it in person, and like, I always enjoy it when kids can see it, because they are just fascinated by seeing behind the curtain.
And I think another one is everything being so close. Everything being so literally, you're jumping here, here's your cold bar, your flat tops in the back, and you're able to speed up and go much faster. And for me personally, I feel like a lot of the food trucks is we tell them the toppings that comes, but I try to go so fast that I don't give them an option, a choice, an option to say, I don't want none of this, because then that slows us down. But if for some reason they get to try our food the way I decided, the way I feel it's a good combination. Like for me at Staples, radishes on all my burritos, radishes on my rice bowls, radishes on everything, because it gives you that nice crunch. So I think just having everything accessible and be able to perform faster, and the propane. I think the propane has a lot to do with it. It's like cooking burgers and charcoal or out on an open fire.
I just think, just the environment where the food truck is. You're already in a good environment. You're already happy. So food, it just tastes better when you're happy and you're at a carnival, you're at a fair, or you're at a park.
Right. You just know you're going to be busy.
Exactly.
I think you're 100% right, because you just know you're going to be busy, and you know it and you expect it. In the restaurants, I own 5 different concepts, a total of 12 different restaurants, but it's so hard, and I hear it from the staff, it's like, well, we don't know when people are coming. Right. And we want to staff it right for every guest to get a great experience, but you just don't know. There's lunches in my hobbies that we serve 20 people. Yeah. There's lunches we serve 100 people. It's like you just don't know. So as a business owner, you don't know how to prepare for that. But on the food truck, I know me and my 2 guys, we did Omaha this weekend. We got our butts kicked. We served over 700 meals in one night.
I saw you.
And we were having fun. Yeah. We have our music in the back, and it's just having fun. We knew what to expect. None of my restaurants would be able to do that with 10 people on the clock.
Right. Because you just don't know when they're coming.
Exactly. You just have no prediction. So I think our set of mind is different, and we accept it, and we the adrenaline that you get out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this too. I think there's something to being able to go up on a food truck, and this isn't true all the time, especially Nick and Javi, you guys are not always on your trucks. Javi, you mentioned you have 3 trucks? Four trucks. So you, unless you clone yourself, you cannot be on all of them at once. But the odds that you are going to interact with the owner of the food truck, like the person who takes your order or who is cooking your food, is usually the owner. That's not always the case in a restaurant, and there's nothing bad about that. That's just kind of the reality of how it is. But it's cool because it's kind of taking that wall down between concept and owner and guest, and it's just like, it's all right here. Right. You want to know who came up with this concept, who's making your food? There he is. There she is. Right there. Is there something to that as well? Just that we like, as guests, we like having that barrier taken down?
I know I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy being able to interact with the guest and, like, to be able to answer any questions that they have just right there.
Yeah, and you can, if you're there, you know that the product's coming out how you want it. You can put any systems and operations that you want in there, but when you're there, you know that it's being perfected at how you want it to be, and that's a huge point. Like, if the owners are mostly in the food truck, so the food coming out of there is really coming from the soul and like really coming from what they want.
Right. And it's like, we've always to my employees, I tell them, you guys are gonna love and enjoy your job or what you're doing when you have the passion. Yes. And if you have the passion, you're gonna love it, and you're gonna do it with such a great attitude that you don't care that it's long hours. You don't care even that. You're just enjoying it. Yep. And unfortunately, like you said, if the owners we are in the food trucks, I know everything's going to go well. The worst thing happens to me having 4 food trucks and all the other restaurants that I kind of oversee is being at a food truck and I'm getting a message, where's your truck or what's going on here? Yeah. And I hit panic mode because I'm like, oh my God, what's going wrong? And then I find out, oh, everything's fine. It's just miscommunication. But I have no control. Just like any other local business owner that owns a restaurant has no control what happens in the restaurant. It's all up to our staff. Yes. Our staff is what make us or break us. But if we don't teach them why it's important for them to continue to do what we believe it's right, like I believe, make the things right for the guests. Do I believe the customer's always right? No. But it is our job to make sure when they leave happy. Yes. Whether it's making it right, whether it's being a sincere apology, I know it wasn't what you're expecting, but how can I make it right? Give me that opportunity. But when they don't give us that opportunity, then we don't know. How can we get better? How can our staff get better?
100%. Yeah. 100%.
So before we get any deeper into this, I would love to hear each of you guys' food truck journeys, especially you two started with food trucks. I think, Javi, did you add food trucks after?
Yep.
Yes. But kind of tell me what got you interested in food trucks and kind of what was your journey into starting your concepts? Nick, I'll start with you.
So I've had the Slydes concept since I was in high school, since I was about 16. I was always very interested in food.
Real quick, this dude smash burgers, when he's talking about the concept, very few people do smash burgers as well as you do. So I just want to throw that out there. If anybody hasn't gone to Hyde Slydes,
I appreciate that.
Change that about yourself. Continue.
Yeah, so I was very much influenced by music. I always wanted to be a chef growing up. And then eventually I got influenced by music. Music pretty much took over my life for about 15 years. I just did that. Once that kind of fell through, I had some opportunities that just didn't work out. I fell back into love with food. It was just like, this is what I wanted to do. This was my true passion growing up. Let's get back into it. And so I just did whatever I could, saved whatever I could, worked whatever job I could, and saved as much money to get a food truck. I was doing eBay flips, Amazon, anything, reselling whatever I could. And then got the food truck. After that, that was pretty much how it started right there. And then my first food truck, the engine blew after my first gig. I got a first real gig. It was at FedEx in Council Bluffs. On my way back, the engine blew. I had to get it towed to my house. And then I made a deal with the tow truck guy. And he told me to all the events in the summer. And then DoorDash from Grubhub, Uber Eats. I parked it up front of my house. Just did Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and just let that kind of turn on, and drivers would come pick up orders from my truck in front of my house. And that's how it started.
That is crazy.
I don't know if I would have had that kind of dedication. No. I don't know if my wife would have allowed me to have the food truck park in my house.
I was single, so that's how it worked.
Oh, see, that's how you get away with that stuff. I'm like, man, that is dedication. I thought I had a good story, but I don't know. I'm going to have to rephrase it.
So, I wanted to do a burger concept back when I was a sous chef down in Lincoln, when I had Honest Abe's and just eating their burgers all the time. And I loved their burgers. And then when I moved up to here for a job and realized that there was no burger restaurant like Honest Abe's here in town, I was like, so then I just started putting the wheels in motion. And one of my friends came up to me one day and he was like, so I want to invest in you. I like your food. I want to basically give you the money to open up your own food truck. And my wife, she was on board, which I'm very grateful, because I need her to basically book the events, to talk to the people, to get everything going, to tell me where I'm going. She does the scheduling, so all I have to do is focus on the food. I could not do this business without my wife. And so he basically let me design the truck, the trailer that I wanted, and found a builder, and we built it, and it has been a crazy, hard, wild ride.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Javi.
Yes. So you had a slightly different path, Javi. You started with restaurants. What made you say, food truck, I want to add this onto the business? This is the next step.
You know, so it's kind of, my story is a little bit weird and complicated, but I moved from LA. I know, right? We don't have enough time. But I moved from LA back in 2005 and did, in Storm Lake, Iowa. And I kind of hop around in those little towns down there until I found what I thought is what I wanted to do, which was open a Menards down there when they opened in Spencer. But then I got it back into the restaurant because in LA I used to work. I was a Subway regional manager and then worked at a hometown buffet down in LA. But then Perkins came to be a franchisee in Milford, Iowa in 2007. So from 2007 until 2020, I worked for them for over 18 years and just opening restaurants and whatnot. So I've learned everything. I don't think I could have gone to school and got a degree in everything and learned everything that I learned at Perkins. So, but then 2020 happened, COVID happened, and then, I just felt it was the right time for me to start doing something of my own, because with COVID, none of us knew what was going on. We didn't know what restaurant was going to survive or what was going to happen. So, pretty ballsy of me, I decided, you know what? If I can't make it during COVID, I'm never going to make it. So with a lot of effort and stress and trying to figure things out, how to finance it, because I was broke and I believe I had $10,000 in my name when I opened my first Hobbies. And 8 different banks had turned me down because they're like, there's no way you're going to make it. It's COVID. We're not financing any restaurants at this moment. There's a lot of restaurants closing. It's the unknown, right? So I turned in my notice at Perkins in May. July 4th of 2020 was going to be my last day at Perkins. And then August 18 of 2020, I opened my first Hobbies, which was 1,000 Degrees Pizza had went down. The gentleman had a stroke, so they had to close it and sell it. So I walked into a perfect storm. Unfortunately, something happened to somebody. I was able to get everything really at a great price, and I was able to get finance from a local bank in Spencer, Iowa, to say, hey, you know what? We know you. We'll give you the money. And that's how Javi's One opened. And until the day I'll tell people, I knew nothing. Even though I'm Mexican, I was born in Mexico, raised in LA, I knew nothing about Mexican food. Swear to God, I knew nothing. I didn't know how to make beans. I didn't know how to make rice. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I knew how I love my food, and I love how I ate in LA. And I saw Mom. I helped Mom. We come from a very poor family, so Mom and I would sell food in the church parking lot when we were young. So I knew how she cooked, measure things with her hand and stuff like that, just make food. So I knew that, and I think out of all the 6 kids that she had, I was the only one that kind of got that gift, I would call it, that I could make anything and just make it taste good. So when 2 weeks before we opened the first Hobbies, I went to Chipotle for the first time. Because in Compton, where I grew up, there's no Chipotles in Compton in the 90s. So when I go to Chipotle on Maple and 156, I'm like, oh, this is everything I think I'm doing. And I'm like, and the food was good. I was like, okay, but mine is just going to be more traditional, more, I don't want to say authentic, because I always challenge people when they say authentic Mexican. What is authentic Mexican? There's so many different regions that it's hard to pinpoint, right? So the week before, we're cooking things, training things, learning how to make rice, learning how to make everything. And one of the employees, I remember exactly asking, so how are we doing this? So, I don't know. Let's just let people pick what they want on their food. And that's where it came of unlimited toppings on the burrito. As long as it goes in the burrito, you get whatever you want. Unlimited toppings on the rice bowl. And then as we went through, I learned that certain things had to come as is, because there's those people that'll come and try to get a street taco and put everything on the cold bar. Guacamole, sour cream, cheese, pico. I'm like, that's like a $7 taco for $3.50. So then we learned, okay, we can't be doing that because we're going to be broke. But the community and everything was great. It went well. And then we opened store 2 6 months later. And then that's when we started doing the food trucks, because there was the demand on social media and stuff like that. At that point, back in 2020, even 2021, there was that many food trucks. I mean, I guarantee you right now, Omaha probably has over 250 to 300 food trucks over all Omaha and Council Bluffs. Mm-hmm. Where back then, I bet you there was maybe 50. Wow. And so there was a high demand, and we've always focused in private events. I've never liked the just park your truck and let's pray to God that people come and buy food for you, because you just don't know. And it's hard. Like for me, I've always told my guests and my employees, if we cannot be consistent and be in one parking stop consistently where people know they could find us, then there's no point to do it. So, and I think that has worked for us. And anyone that wants to do a food truck, I've always encouraged them, focus in private events. Yes, go to corporates, go to big events, give yourself a minimum, know what you're worth, because then you're not wasting your time. We all know what it takes to run a food truck. Yeah. It's not easy. It's long hours, propane, it's your truck, it's all this stuff. Yeah. So, and that's where the food trucks came involved, and, by great, thanks to the community and everything that has happened, we have 3 Javi's trucks that are successful. Now we have Frosty Mug that is kicking my butt. I did not expect to be doing burgers like that in a food truck. I should stick to tacos. Yeah. Tacos are much easier. I'll tell people any day.
I want to hit on something you just said there, though, Javi. You said when you started your first food truck, to your knowledge, there were, like 50, 60 in Omaha, and now we're at a couple hundred in just 300 a couple years.
Like 30, I think.
Yeah. Why? Why the explosion of trucks over the last 5 years?
I think a lot of people, and I think you guys testify, like I fought the health department of Douglas County because I take pride in my food trucks. Every food truck that I have has cost me over $140,000, $150,000. I don't drive junk food trucks. We clean our food trucks after every event. Like I told my guests, we have a minimum, and my minimum is higher than probably the average person. Like my average minimum is $1,300 to $1,500. If you want me to go, that's what it's going to cost. Awesome. But because I tell people, there's 2 hours to 3 hours of prep before the event. We're going to be in your house for 2 hours. But then we got to serve your guests. Then we got to come back, drive that truck, clean the truck, make sure it's sanitized, all the stainless steel's clean, the hoods are clean. That's 3 more hours. My staff is working 8 hours, potentially 10 hours.
For your 2 hour
and
event.
your 2 hour event. And if there's 2 employees, and I pay my employees between $18 to $22 an hour in the food truck plus their tips, you're talking $300 to $400 in labor.
Right.
Then you got to put your paper supply and all that. So it's just not easy.
Okay, I asked why people are starting food trucks, and you just gave me all the reasons not to start one.
Okay, so going with that, it's because I think people think it's easy, and there's a lot of people out there that if they go do an event and make $500, they're happy. And they think it's easy, but some of these food trucks out there are not clean, are not maintained, and they just think it's easy money. Why we'll go work for Amazon or Javi and make $200 in 2 days or $300, and when you could do it in 1 day. But there's more to it.
In all seriousness, I loved your first answer because that's exactly what we want. Like, most people don't understand what a food truck minimum is, or they don't. I had no idea before you just said it that a 2 hour service is 10 hours of work for you guys. Like that's the pulling back of the curtain that I think we need as guests. So thank you for bringing the real talk there.
So I went to details.
I love details. I hope everyone else likes details too, because I encourage all the details.
Oh yeah.
But I think the reason why a lot of people do food trucks or wants to start is if you want to open up a restaurant, you need about $1 million in the bank. Maybe not him, but if you
not everyone has a Javi's magic.
Right. But like this place, they had to build it all out. They had to do everything, and it takes about $1 million to put everything together to make sure you have enough capital, so that way when the freezer goes out, you can pay for that. If you have a slow night, you can pay for that. Versus about $150,000 can get you a food truck and you can get going. So that's a huge difference. So if you want to try, it's an easy way to try, but you have to work a lot harder with a food truck because everything moves.
I think prices of food trucks just went down too. I think that there was a market that people capitalized on the food truck market, and it was just a lot easier to find food trucks recently compared to in 2021 where I was traveling to Kansas or wherever to try to look at these things, and then now they're just flooded everywhere you look, pretty much with them.
Everywhere you look, now there's one for sale. There's someone trying to make one at their backyard.
Yep.
And I've seen it. I've seen some in the road. I'm like, huh? You got to permit it?
Brian, you just said 2 words that I think I saw PTSD flash in all three of your eyes. Goodness, I promise I can say a sentence. Everything moves.
Yes.
Break that down for us. I know what you're talking about, but I want everyone else to know. Everything moves. What does that mean? Tell me a disaster story.
Oh, God.
All right. So, because of my original commissary, everything, so I had a smoker because one of the things that I do periodically is burnt ends on a burger and fries.
It's fantastic.
Why, thank you. So I had a smoker on top of an oven in the food truck. The first time I went to smoke something, forgot the drip pan underneath. I opened the door, and there's just grease and juice everywhere. And I don't know if I was more upset I had to clean it up or I didn't put it back into the beef. And then another one that was worse than the smoker pan was I didn't realize that at Restaurant Depot I bought 10 times concentrated Dawn dish soap. And I get the food truck parked at night. I open it up, make sure no coolers or anything. and I see that this giant bottle of Dawn dish soap is all over the floor. Soap is not the easiest to clean up.
It just gets soapy.
It was thick.
Everything moves. You guys have a story?
I got a crazy one. Just happened recently. So we strapped everything in, and where we cooked the straps, it came out of the wall. Ooh. In the middle of we're turning, and my grill, fridge, fryer, everything falls over. It broke the window, serving window. I'm looking at I see it out of my rearview mirror, the glass flying over. I go over to check, tore up my floor, and I pretty much just had to redo the trailer like this week to do it, get it back up and going. Yep. So that's everything moves. So it's just a nightmare every time. Like think about all the stuff that happens in the kitchen, and I'll put that on wheels.
Yeah.
With very limited water.
Right.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise that it just sat on your lawn for the first however many months.
Yeah, I mean, we've got better throughout the years, but even still, year 1 and year 2, I never thought that if the screw eventually is going to come out, right? You think screws in, it's in the wall, it's going to stay there. But with the movement, apparently screws have the opposite rotation thing.
Yeah, they come out.
And then, I mean, I would look at I was like, well, I know there was a screw there. And then I'll find the screw after we swept. I'm like, okay. And then I ignored it instead of putting it back on. But then, obviously, there's only so many times you can put the same screw in the same hole. And it's going to come out.
Put Loctite on the screw.
There you go.
So on my serving window, I have these 4-foot stainless steel tables. And the end of last year, like they all just collapsed because all the little screws came out of every single one. It just moves.
There's a couple of events the first couple of years that we would show up and everything will be on the floor. I'm like, God.
Yep.
Like normally it's 30 minutes for us to get ready and going. I told the lady, it might be a little bit later, sir. So this happened. She's like, oh my God, yeah. But we made it work. But it's definitely, no matter how much you strap, no matter what, like we said, and I always tell my staff, drive slow, don't follow the speed limit. And just remember that you got 15, 18,000 pounds that you cannot just slam on the brake.
Right.
Because you slam on the brake, there's two things going to happen. Everything in the trailer is going to move, and then more than likely you might going to break a disc brake because you're going to slam so hard. It has happened, and then it's like I told them. And they're like, well, people honk us when we go slow. So it doesn't matter. I'd rather you get there. I normally schedule them 45 minutes or an hour before an event to drive that time. Even if it's a 15-minute drive, I want you to be there 30, 45 minutes early so I know you got there safe.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot. And, and I don't know if you guys drive with your propane in because technically we're not supposed to. So,
they're 100-pound tanks.
Yeah. It's a lot of propane in there.
Didn't hear that.
So then you got to show up at an event even earlier to turn everything on and is all that. And some of the people driving out there, they don't care. They don't care that you have a food truck or you have tons of food and you have a commitment to get somewhere and feed people. Yeah. They just want to get around you and slam on the brakes in front of you. That
happened last year.
Multiple times.
I thought, dude, this is going to be a train wreck on 680. Luckily, I was able to swerve into the next lane, but I was like, why would you cut off a food truck? Like, this is like 18,000 pounds and I will win and no one's going to win.
Right.
Don't cut off food trucks, people. That's the PSA for tonight. The more you know. So I referenced the movie Chef earlier, and I did it kind of tongue-in-cheek. I love that movie. It's a great movie. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's basically the premise is Jon Favreau is a chef, and he starts a Cubano food truck with his best friend and his son, and they basically buy an old piece of junk food truck, gut it, completely redesign it in a day, and then just like travel the country, and they're like a wild success. It's a fun movie. It's maybe not the most accurate depiction of food truck life. What are some common misconceptions, and you guys have listed off a couple already, but some common misconceptions that you run into that people have about food trucks that you would love to just dispel and say, actually, this is reality?
Dude, health permits. Everywhere, you need to get a permit for La Vista, Papillion, Omaha, Gretna, Bellevue.
Oh, yeah. They start adding up.
Oh, yeah. And, some of them you're like, I don't even know, we go to Pint 9 cross-train a lot. And I thought it was in La Vista because their address said La Vista. And so when I went to go get the La Vista, I'm like, what do you need this? I go, for Pint 9 cross-train? Like, that's not in us. They're actually, like, Papillion is all around Pint 9 cross-train, but they're not in any city.
They're just like on their own island? How does that?
Kind of.
Like literally, Papillion annexed, like, the road, but not the actual property that they're in.
Okay. Well, that's something I don't think anyone in this room knew. So we all got a little smart.
And another thing that a lot of people don't realize is some of these events charge us a lot of money to be part. And I've had events where they charge us like fairs or even like Maha. Maha, it was $800 for us to be there for one day for dinner. So that's $800. So for me to make that profitable, that means we had to do $8,000 because that's 10% of our sales going to pay rent. In the restaurant industry, you want to be under 9% of rent of your revenue to make sure you're profitable. So for me to be paid 10%, $800, if I don't do $8,000, then it was not a good event. That's a lot of food you got to sell.
That's a lot of tacos, man.
A lot of food in 5 hours. You know, so some of these guests or people that follow us don't understand that. Like, just because we're at the county fair or some craft fair, that we're just there because we love it. You know, that's $500 or $1,000 investment out of our part that we're just hoping, like I always tell people, if you do the great marketing, you do promoting and everything you got to do, I would love to be part of it. But if not, I've learned my lesson of how many events if we pay and we walked out doing $300, $400.
Yep.
And that doesn't, there's been events, weeks that I lose $10,000, $15,000 because I wanted to support our community or wanted to support an event. It wasn't a good event. It rained, but guess what? They still collected the money from me. I had to provide insurance because most of these events, they want to make sure their name is in the insurance certificate in case something happens, and we got to pay for that. You know, it's a big, there's a lot of expenses and I would say investment of our end that sometimes guests don't realize, you know, and they expect food truck to be cheap, too, the food to be cheap. You know, they want things. Conversation I had with a guest a couple of weeks ago. It's like, well, this is ridiculous. Pay $14 for burritos. I was like, well, I'm bringing a service to you guys.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going in the restaurant. You're not driving. I'm bringing it to you guys. Exactly. And this was for a private event, and he thought $14 was a high price. You know, I was like, well, it is what it is. I mean,
you could break it down, and it's really not that high of a price.
No, I mean, I always tell people, I feel like us in the restaurant industry, we're the lowest paying industry as far as knowledge or career, right? And why do I say that? If you have a plumbing issue, you're going to pay a plumber for his service call, and for his knowledge to go fix your problem. Same thing with a mechanic. Same thing with an electrician. Electrician is going to say, oh, yeah, you need to change this. I need to put a breaker. He's going to charge you his parts, and he's going to charge you for what he knows.
Yes. Yep.
But when we go out and eat at a restaurant, none of you guys ever pay for our knowledge, for what we know. Because not everybody could go cook the food I cook or the burgers you guys cook. Not everybody has that knowledge. Yeah. But they're paying for the food, the service, and the ingredients, and the paper supply, and the utilities, and all that. But no one's ever paying for what we know, our knowledge.
Yeah.
The last probably 6-8 months, I've been getting on my head about that.
Yeah, that's turning on you.
You know, it's just, but we pay for everything else.
You're right.
We go see a doctor. You have a doctor's visit, and you have your medication. You're paying for what they know.
Yeah.
No one ever pays in the restaurant industry for what we know.
I think at our level of food, but once you get to the fancier level of food, I feel like the price.
But is that fair?
I don't know. You're right.
Like, I get people all the time, $16 for a burger, which, yes, am I one of the higher burger places? But I do everything that I can from scratch with good quality meat that's locally sourced, that, like, there's a lot of love that goes in my fries, in my burgers, and everything that I do. It's thought out, and just, you know, all that costs money. You know, it's, you know, if you want a cheap burger, yes, McDonald's has monopolized on that, and everyone's like, well, these people can do it. Yeah, but
they got buying power. They got buying power.
Right.
That's why they could sell Culver's. Any of the companies want to, compare us to Chick-fil-A, in my case, or Qdoba, they've got buying power.
Oh, yeah.
They're gaining the same meat that I'm gaining, certified Angus, for 30 to 40% cheaper than I'm
Or
getting it.
they have the farm.
Yeah.
No, they
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, it's everything is the big businesses make it really hard for the small business to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, like I like to try to use Long Creek Farms. So like the pickles on the chicken sandwich came from Long Creek. The cucumbers came from Long Creek
Walk.
Farm. Thank you.
Yeah. Long Walk. Battle of the Chef's host. I gotta make sure we get that right. Long Walk Farms.
Yes, which, you know, like I told them, I'm like, man, your cucumbers create some of the best pickles I've ever made because, like, it's local stuff. It tastes better. But, like, all that, like, no one gets paid what they should get paid, from the farmers to the cooks, because the American people just want, I can get, how cheap and how fast can I get this? And they don't care what went into it, the love.
I recently had read like it was a TikTok review on us, and they were comparing. They would say we were compared to Five Guys, just all the national chains, pretty much Freddy's and this and that, and it was the same price as them. Why would they go to us? And I'm like, well, we're local. You got the basic one. I mean, it might not be grades better than the national chains, but it's the local chain. So it's really hard to compete with those prices, especially when it's just different buying power, different leverage, just totally different ball game. Yeah.
And this is a big reason why I'm such a proponent of supporting local. And people will say to me, you know, like, there are local people that work at chains. Chains are employing people who live and work in Omaha, and some of them are, you know, they're franchisees, and they are still owned by people who live in Omaha. That's absolutely true, and I have respect for that. Chains have their time, they have their place, but the locally owned spots don't have the same advantages, the same backing that those national chains do. You guys are it with your businesses. If you go down, there's no safety net underneath you. It's you, and that's why I think it's so important to, yes, we can absolutely go to chains, support chains. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't have, I mean, I'm married, but I don't have kids yet, so I haven't run into the issue of having to feed a bunch of kids. I know it can get expensive very quickly. But I do think it's so important to support those local spots because of all the things you guys just listed. You're at a disadvantage when it comes to competing against those. Even if you are making much higher quality food, you have to explain to the guest why they have to pay more to dine at your establishment. And that's just hard to do.
Yeah, it is. Very hard.
All right, let's get back in the positives here. I want to talk about adaptability. And I think that is a skill that is extremely important in any restaurant, but I would say especially on a food truck, because, you know, you talked about it earlier. If a screw comes out of the wall, all of a sudden you have to know how to fix that. If you have a coolant leak, you become a mechanic. If you run out of food, you can't just go to the grocery store, or you can't just get more. You're out of food. You have to adapt and figure out what you're going to do from there. How important is adaptability as a skill when it comes to being a food truck owner?
Extremely.
Huge.
You have to be acceptable to anything that could go wrong. Yeah. And if it does, don't panic. Just try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you are very close-minded and stress very easily, food truck is not for you. I would say that.
Yeah. The milk's going to spill. Just be ready to clean it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It happens.
Yeah.
And I tell my staff all the time, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I think it's funny because they seen Javi at the restaurants, how we manage the restaurants are completely different. Yeah. Where in the food truck, why is he so forgiving? Things happen. It's okay.
Things happen.
Now, at the restaurant, you drop a gallon of milk. Come on now. Seriously? Right. You have so much space. Why did you drop that? Why did you put that on the edge? You know? In the food truck, hey, don't worry about it. We'll clean it up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Dude. When you said dropping out, so I keep sauces in deli cups, and some, I tell everyone, you have to keep them in a hotel pan when they're in the cooler. Because I can't tell you how many times I've opened up the cooler, that deli cup of that barbecue sauce just hit the floor, and you're like, guess we're out of barbecue sauce.
Yeah. You ever leave the fries at the restaurant? Or at the commissary?
I've ran out of fries.
I showed up with forgot the burger one time.
Ooh.
There's
I forgot it. Burrito shells to
Yeah.
the van. It is. We were supposed to
adapt.
serve only breakfast burritos. I'm like, oh shoot! How did we forget the breakfast burrito shells?
Yeah.
So
happens.
is adaptability a skill that you can learn, or is it something you feel like you innately kind of have to have to some extent?
I don't think you can learn it. I think you
get better
gotta
at it.
have it. You get better if you have it. You get better.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not something you could learn or accept.
Right.
Because there's certain people that are trained and drilled a certain way. And like it's like my wife. My wife is a very organized person. My wife could never work for us in the food truck because she wants things a certain way. And I was like, baby, everything changes every day. Every event changes. Nothing's going to be like last week. So today, this is what I need you to do. This, I can't do that. But this is not what I did last week. I said, I know. It's okay. And I just learned that it's okay. I'll take her help any other way she wants to help, but the food truck, I know it's not for her. And we go 1,000 miles. And she's like, how do you do it? I said, we just learn it. We just adapt to it.
Right. There's some times where stuff's happened in the beginning, which was a huge deal, and it happens all the time. Now it's not that big of a deal, where you just get better at it or better at fixing it or whatever it is. You just get better at adapting to it and just being ready for any issue that comes at you.
Yep.
Definitely with like adaptability. I feel like anyone in the restaurant, if you want to be successful, you just have to learn how to adapt and think on your feet. But like in the food truck, it goes on. Like, how do you become a plumber? How do you become a mechanic? Like,
Electrician.
the propane tank fell and broke this piece, and you're like, all right, how do I get this piece out of this thing so that way I can go get a new piece to put it in? Yeah. And what is this piece called anyways? Yep.
Speaking of adaptability, learning how much food you need, I think, is one of the most important things that you have to learn when you're on a food truck, because it looks great on social media if you can make that post at the end of an event that says sold out. And because if people see those posts repeatedly, they're like, oh, this place is selling out all the time. It must be good. And that generates some FOMO. It's like, okay, I got to try this. But if you sell out super fast, you're not maximizing your profits.
Yes.
What is that balance? How do you find I think par is the term that you guys use in the industry. How do you determine how much food you need? Because, like I said earlier, it's not like you can just go back in the walk-in and grab some more and, like a restaurant can. Whatever you guys have on the truck, that's it. And then you're sold out. How do you determine how much food you need at an event?
I think it all goes to what I said earlier about having your minimums and knowing what you expect. And that way, like me, if you book me and I have a $900, $1,300 minimum, I know how much food I got to bring and then up at 25% to make sure I don't run out. Now, if it's like a wedding or a graduation, it's like, hey, Javi, we're expecting anywhere between 125 to 200 people. That's a big gap. Yeah. So then I make the commitment, I make the investment of buying more food. Like I always tell myself, loaded heavy. I'd rather you come back with food than running out.
Yes.
I have a different point of view. I see those posts all the time. Food trucks are right now sold out. Yeah, you didn't bring enough.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's like, it's either good. Like for me, when I see that, it's like, you just plan poor. Like I was at a food truck not too long ago. I really wanted to try their food, and I know that they have a line. I go, and they're like, oh yeah, we sold out. Like, we're the same event. You didn't have a line. How did you sold out? But those are the food trucks. They're happy that they make $500, $700. They're happy with that. So if they sell 30, 40 meals, they're great.
Right, yeah.
But that's poor planning for me.
We have the advantage of having the restaurants as well, where we can overstock it, overstock it, and we know that we can go back to the restaurant and the food's going to sell. Yep. Unlike him, you have to really consider what you're bringing in and everything like that, and your food costs.
Well, maybe soon we can help him and get one of those restaurants, and maybe he'll have a restaurant.
So, like, I have a lot of cooler space, so that way then I can have stuff. So, like, I have the cooler underneath the grill and the flat top, so I can fit 8 hotel pans of burgers underneath there. And then I have 2 other coolers. So I made sure when I designed this food truck, I designed it to be able to do volume, so I didn't run out. My biggest problem is, well, today we've sold 50 Fun Guys, and I have no more mushrooms. So, like, normally I sell 30 Fun Guys, you know, like that hiccup of like, why is everyone ordering this?
Yeah. I learned a lot from you on the ice cream cruise that Saturday. You had the line from the beginning to the end, and I sold out after that event. And you were still selling to the very end. And I was like, I'm bringing more food. I can't.
Ice cream cruise kicks my butt.
Yeah,
I've done that 3 years in a row, and every year we've broken a record.
Yeah, dude, that Saturday, I learned a lot from you that Saturday. I watched from afar, and I was like, how is he just slanging so much food out of that right now?
But that's why I take Mobile One, which is my
big one.
30-foot? Yeah, it's a big one. So you could hold some food. I could easily do 25,000 out of that truck in a day event.
That's crazy.
But it's nonstop, and it takes 7 or 8 of us.
Yeah. Line from the very beginning to the end.
So like what you guys said, the ice cream cruise, like when you're starting in the food truck, getting those connections is probably the hardest thing, because like I emailed them and got nothing because I don't have the connections. And I talked with High Voltage Barbecue, and he's like, oh, he's my friend. Next year I'll give you the connection so you can get in, try to get into the ice cream cruise. But like a lot of this stuff, it's when you first start out, you trying to find like at this building who's the one that books the food trucks, like trying to build those connections and like having your repertoire of like, hey, these are the admins at this place. And you know, and then every year you start calling them and booking, you know, and we book in January and February for the next year. Like that was like one of the hardest things. Like when I started in July, I didn't realize that like, oh, everything is already booked. It like, you know, it was just hard to get started last year because I couldn't get into any of the big things because my food truck was like,
Some events are booked. Like this is what, August? June, I started booking for next year. So like my May, April are pretty much booked for next year. So then things start coming in. So like right now in October, September, all the graduations start coming in. So the best thing is just social media. Invest in social media to get your name out there, to get all the graduations, all the weddings and stuff like that. Now, because if you have it by October, September, then you're good.
nice.
So October, September, you should have your May, June, July fully booked.
Wow.
Like for me right now, I have nothing for August or October. Like very rare I'll take another one because everything now that we're booking literally 6 to 8 months ahead. And for me, it all started on social media, but with your good marketing, having a good marketing team or someone that's managing your stuff to promote the trucks out there on social media. Hey, book us for your next private event, wedding, graduations, corporate events, stuff like that. Just put it out there in people's face and you'll get there.
Javi, I just wish you were more organized, man.
What do you mean?
You just you don't plan ahead. You don't like think about events going into them. You just do everything so willy-nilly. I'm like amazed. You are like, you're spitting out food costs and percentages. My brain can't keep up with this at all. I can see why you're successful. This is very interesting.
Numbers is my thing.
Well, you do them well. I wanted to touch on something that you said there, Brian, in that the most difficult part of starting a food truck is establishing those relationships, finding out where do I need to park. Because I think so many people just think, oh, you get a food truck and then you go park in the neighborhood and everybody shows up and they all want burgers. And that's not always the case. And Javi, you said like you don't even do stuff like that. For you, it has to be an event. You have to have something scheduled or it's not worth your investment. So how do you guys go about creating those contacts and establishing those relationships that allow you to get into the events that are the real moneymakers?
You want me to go first?
Sure, go for it, man.
Well, I mean, when I got my first trailer, like I said, I booked a...
hey, Nick, can I have you?
Yes.
Perfect.
First trailer, I was the guy doing $200 events. There's no minimum. I'll go to your park, that park, this office, wherever I could go. And then by doing that though, other people moved jobs. They volunteer here, they do this.
and it just built up the connections that way. So like my first year, I mean, my minimum went up. I remember I had the lowest one. I had like $300 minimum at one point, and then
I remember.
I know, like a 500.
Well, this guy's going to do it for $300. Well, you call that guy.
I did. But that was how I got my name out. That was just the only option I had, and like and like some of those events, like I said, I was telling myself there, telling myself back, I would lose money, but I would have to just figure out where I could on the back end, and that's how. Like now, I don't have to. Like they just come. They just come. But at the very beginning, it was not like that. I'm out there on every group, anywhere I could, taking any opportunity I could.
Neighborhoods I've just have found have been way more successful than I thought they would be.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Neighborhoods are number one for me.
Oh yeah.
Like block parties and stuff
Yeah,
like
I just
that.
did a block party where someone put a band in their driveway, and I was in their circle and made almost $2,000.
Yep.
Would have
Someone
never
calls
guessed
for a
it.
neighborhood band. Hey, Javi, one absolutely. What's the minimum? Don't worry about it. We always break it. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. 2 years ago, I used to require at least a $300 deposit, and I used to tell them, there's a little tip for you guys. I used to tell them, hey, if I hit my minimum, I'll refund you your $300. There's no charge for us to come back. You know, what is your minimum? And I would guess that they pay. If I was really busy, I would say $900, $1,300. And like June, July, when it's like my busiest months, I go up to $1,500.
Wow.
College World Series, I'm charging $3,000 to go to any event.
I love
because
that.
of how busy we are.
Really?
You know, and then College World Series week is graduation, College World Series, and a bunch of appreciation week for employers. So I up it, and people will pay for it. And neighborhood events, I always get smoke. I gotta have 3 to 4 people working in a neighborhood event because it's an average of $2,500 to $4,000 consistently.
Yeah, I got smoked at your neighborhood.
Yeah. So, you know, it just, neighborhoods events, and you know, there's always that chance, though. So that's why I tell people, put a $300 deposit. It's 100% refundable as long as we hit our minimum. No charge for you. And then never had someone say, no, that's too much. We'll go with another. Like, you know, but because they all know that we could show up and perform. The biggest thing is doing the neighborhood events is be fast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing I've learned throughout the years is limited menus. Stop going crazy and trying to provide everything. No, give you a burger, or in my case, give you a burrito, give you a taco and a rice bowl or nachos.
That's it.
3 things to think about, and we can go fast.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like about this industry is how people are just willing to help. So like one of my first events this year, I was doing an Easter egg hunt for a church, and Cheese Life was there. And I was talking to him, and he's like, hey, the name of the game is, yes, you want good food, but how fast can you put it out? Like, they care more about the speed than the quality. So this year I pivoted, and so like I have a au jus where I'll put the burgers in, and they normally will only be there for like 3 minutes, but it helps us go faster. Instead of last year, we were cooking everything to order. So it went from being able to do a 10 to 15 minute ticket time down to like a 5 to 8 ticket time when things are going well.
That's a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're a customer, that 7 minutes feels like an eternity at a food truck.
Like when we were doing junk stock for like 2 hours, we were doing 5 burgers every 4 minutes. And, you know, now that we've been doing it, you know, because it was the beginning of the season, we could probably go faster because we're all used to everything.
And that's one thing we all learn. The more you do in a food truck, the better and faster you get.
For sure, for sure. And some of the smaller events, you can be more personable and bring some of the fun items for that. But once you get into that volume and you're really just trying to turn it, you do got to keep that menu simple.
I do Amazon every quarter, and it's anywhere between 400 to 600 meals.
Yep.
Every quarter, and it's always hot. Nick tells me, dude, just keep it simple. It's like, no, but I get creative. Javi, I don't want you to get creative. I just want you to feed these people. And we're going to feed them 6 to 8 per minute to be able to get them all, because they got 45 minutes to eat. So we got to go fast. So then if we get to the point that we get there at 3 in the morning to be ready for them to be served at 5 in the morning, and then literally have them pre-made meals ready, and then we're cooking the other ones as we're passing them out. And that's the only way you could do it. But you can only do it. You cannot expect that, and I guess them to come, I want a burrito. No, I want a rice bowl.
And it's
no,
500 people.
Exactly. It's because they all come out, and they have those 45 minutes, and they got to get out, so it's all about execution and knowing your menu.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a learning curve.
Yeah.
As we wind down here, I want to circle back to something that we talked about a while ago. And Javi, you were talking about how there are so many more food trucks now than when you first got into this. And I think it's been kind of an interesting trend to watch even in Omaha. Like, I was really surprised about 2 months ago, Dante, which is one of Omaha's premier Italian restaurants, they've been around since I think 2008 or 2009. They opened a food truck. So along with their business, they still have their brick and mortar, but they have a food truck now. A place, Via Farina is another Italian restaurant. They've got a pizza oven that will go out. There have been a couple restaurants in the last couple of years that have gone from brick and mortars or from spots that were in a food hall, something like that, and they've actually moved out of those places and moved back to their food trucks or to mobile establishments. What are some of the advantages to being mobile? Why are people doing this?
There's a lot.
What is this trend? Yeah.
Less staff.
Less staff.
Rent. My average building that I pay in rent is between $6,000 to $9,000 on my brick and mortar buildings. I don't have that on a food truck. My average restaurant on a good month make, if I'm lucky, 5 to 6%.
Yep.
But then I lose that the next month when there's a drain clogged up or a refrigerator goes bad or a water heater that just went bad on my lakeside that cost me $15,000. So everything that I made last quarter, just lost it in one equipment. On a food truck, we're making anywhere between 35 to 45% profit.
Yep.
Because we don't have the workers' comp insurance is less, the overtime is less, everything, all your overheads is way less than it is in the restaurant. And when people say, why are you doing the restaurant? And I do the restaurant because of the job opportunities I have to offer to people and the opportunities they get in life that I know another restaurants wouldn't give them to them. Currently we employ 147 employees total. But I've had employees that have been with me since day one that I know what they were making back in 2020, and I know the salary they're making right now. It's much better than they were 5 years ago. So that's the one reason I would say I keep my brick and mortars open is for those people that the opportunities I'm able to provide for them and their families. But my money and my bread and butter is the food trucks. 100%. The food trucks have kind of saved my ass in some of my restaurants
100%.
Because we haven't been able to make the money in some of those cases. Like my ice cream shop. Anybody wants to buy an ice cream, come and talk to me. I'll sell you an ice cream. I'm going to stick to tacos. But, my ice cream shop has been open for a year and a half, and I've lost so much money. But thanks to the food trucks, I'm still able to keep it open. And the high school kids that we have working there, that love working there, have a job.
Nailed it. Touchdown.
I don't know what your guys' margins, but my margins on the food trucks are 40 to 45%.
Most profitable part of Hyde Slydes is the food truck, by far. By far, just less overhead and
easy to manage,
and it's just less time consuming too. Because you are doing the 8-hour events, but it's just not being open for 10 hours, which has got 4 hours of prep and 2 hours of cleaning afterwards. It is still 8 hours for a 2-hour event, but it's a lot easier than that way.
I'll give you an example. My Welch location, my original store, could make anywhere between $1,500 to $1,800 Monday through Thursday, for example.
Okay.
On an average day, being open 12 hours, but I could have a truck event and make $3,000 in 2 hours.
Yep. 11 to 1.
Yeah. Now lunch event, and that's it.
Brian's life is like flashing before his eyes. He's like, wait a second, am I still looking for brick and mortar?
So I feel like because everything that I do is from scratch, the brick and mortar, for me, when I look at it, I could be wrong.
It opens opportunities.
Right.
Yes.
And also,
Absolutely.
blanching the fries. Someone could be blanching fries and making fries, where right now, there's not enough room in the food truck to do that. There's downtime. If you're looking to do a food truck, don't try to do everything from scratch, because the labor is what eats up your profit on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like that. Like if it's one thing that I would do different would be not like I probably wouldn't do fries, but I love how my fries are. So it's sort of hard to not do them.
It's kind of like me. I buy certified Angus beef in all my restaurants for all my steak. We get the flat, we shave the fat, we shape the muscle, we shave it, we process it, we chop it ourselves. I've had Cisco, U.S. Food try to offer me already chopped. It's not the same.
Right.
It's just not, and I would never do it. My average cost for certified Angus beef on a pound is almost $12.50 right now.
Wow.
A pound. By the time I process it and cut it and marinate it, the labor, easy $12.50 a pound. I could get it cheaper for $5,
But it's not
but
the
it's
same.
not going to be the same. It's been frozen. I got to thaw it. It's
Lost
just
all
not
the
the same.
moisture.
Yeah. You know, so I understand what you're saying. It's as a food truck owner, we want to do things that's right to provide. Like I said at the beginning, it's how I like to eat my food. And if it's not something I would eat, I won't sell it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you guys have been absolutely fantastic guests tonight. Almost too good. Like, I had so many more things that I wanted to ask you, but
This guy talks a lot.
we got to be respectful of the bar's time, of everybody's time here. But holy cow, I have enjoyed this so much. I've learned so much. Thank you guys for being authentic, for being honest, and for just bringing so much knowledge. This was tremendous.
Yeah. Maybe too honest.
We love being too honest. Everybody, can we give them a round of applause? Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.